All right. Welcome back to my renewed channel. This is Lunar Grace, and I am your co-pilot, Christina. Today, we're going to talk about the lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is taking place at 12 degrees 52 minutes, guys. And we're going to talk about the eclipse. We're going to talk about the ruler of the eclipse, some fixed stars as well, and perhaps asteroids, because I love those, because it's giving additional layers actually for the interpretation. And we're going to start with some of the quotes right now, which I'm going to read for you. And that is, no matter what anyone else may say, always do what you believe is right. If you have the courage to do that, it's like having a magical weapon of unlimited powers. All right. The best people, the best persons are who is dedicated to relieving the suffering of others. So that's why I try to do every single day to give you guys and just in general in my life to paying forward for my karmic debts. And then there is another one. Will you take a step forward or will you be content to stay where you are now? Everything in your life is determined by that. All right, guys, let's move forward. And if you're new to my channel, please give me a chance over here. Subscribe. You can hype my videos because with that, you are showing some love for me, and actually I'm going to be able to create more content for you and guide you during this difficult period, because let's face it, 2026 could be really difficult. I am queen of the quotes. If you know me, I love quoting. And today I came with this quote: when fog lifts, the mess is visible, and visibility is the first act of healing. It's very important, guys, because of it is talking about the eclipse. The eclipse is going to happen actually in Virgo, right? Virgo rules the sixth house. So we're going to talk about the archetype of Virgo, the sixth house. As well. And also Mercury is the ruler, which just went on retrograde on the 26th when I'm recording this video over here. So hopefully I'm not going to have some technological issue as I had before. But as I said, please give me a chance and hype my videos and subscribe, like, and comment below anything. If you comment more, while you are watching or listening my videos, then it's even better. I try to answer back because algorithm can catch on with me, and it would be really helpful. So let's talk about, first of all, the lunar eclipse and what does it mean, the lunar eclipse. The eclipse, when the earth moves directly between the sun and the moon, and it's shadowing the moon, right? It's covering the moon as well. So this is astronomically what's happening over here, and it's always connected to the lunar nodes, right? So at this moment, we have the nodes in the Pisces and also the Virgo axis. The last eclipse is going to happen here for other 18, 19 years. It's going to be August 28th, and it's going to happen another lunar eclipse in Pisces, and it's going to be on 4 degrees. But today eclipse is in Virgo, and it's going to happen at 12 degrees 52 minutes, as I said, right? So there is different kind of eclipses. There is partial eclipse, total eclipse, and penumbral eclipse, which is the first one is the penumbral, is when subtle dimming and it is barely noticeable. The partial eclipse, when, the eclipse could be, just part of the moon could be taken or shaded. And the total eclipse, when the earth is going to cover totally, the moon for a few minutes. Every single eclipse is seeing in different places, for example, and also the total eclipse of the lunar eclipse could be different length as well. For example, different, what is that? Um, so some of them is going to be 2 minutes long, some of them is 6 minutes long, and that is what is very important. So actually, it's going to be about 58 minutes, right? The blood moon. This is actually a lunar eclipse, and this is full moon on steroids. Last time when we had it in February 17, we had that in Aquarius, right? And still the axis energy, it's in Pisces and Virgo, and I was talking about that. That's why it's hybrid and actually that was a total solar eclipse. But this lunar eclipse, it's about to be around 58 minutes, right? So you can see actually this eclipse from the Pacific Ocean, Western North America as well, East Asia as well. So Japan, for example, you can see that very well. New Zealand and most of Australia and Central Asia also could be, but you're going to miss the start because of the moonrise, and because of it has to be dark to see that. So it has to be nighttime, obviously. It is totally not going to be seen in Europe, for example, Eastern Europe or Africa and Western Asia as well, and not the east part of America either. You won't be able to see it. But what does it really mean astrologically, this kind of full moon eclipse, full moon and steroids, right? It is actually an amplified full moon. It is, as I said, something to do with, closure and endings. And the moon actually representing the public people, the general people, emotions, memory. It is also the woman, your instinct, your homeland. And this lunar eclipse going to release points on these areas as well. So, for example, the solar eclipse that we had in February 17, it is plants the seed, but the lunar eclipse actually going to uproot something, release something. It could be like, 6 months or even a little bit of longer as well, because it is tied to an 18-year synodic cycle. As I said, the nodes are changing, signs or become returning to the same sign every 18 years. And it is closure, as I said, emotional truth going to surface, ending, something to do with relationship shift as well, something to do with the public can see the result, or some kind of what is surfacing. Something which is not mystical but secret surfacing. It is definitely going to bring some kind of mood swing for the collective as well, and bringing up subconscious materials as well. So, it's fated event, definitely not subtle, but something which is like temporary going to darken your mood, or darken your life a little bit. It depends which house you're going to experience it, and I'm going to do the reading for each individual signs, so we will see that. All right, what is happening over here? The collective effect of the lunar eclipse usually is associated with or indication for public unrest and something to do with leadership exposure, especially in Pisces or Scorpio when we had it, that is always exposing something to do with some kind of mass emotional reactions, right? Because of the moon is the public. It is also shift in public opinion. It is also an event which could involve families, housing situation, or homeland, immigration as well, and women in general, but also it's something to do with media as well many times. So yes, that is what the eclipse talking about over here. And let's see what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry, I have something with. Okay, let me just change the background because my camera went out right now, but that's all right. And I'm just going to change the background for you guys a little bit. Here it is, and you will be able to see this. Okay. All right, and let's move forward here. So this is actually the lunar eclipse in Virgo, and let me just, I created this with obviously with AI, but we're going to talk about guys Mercury being in, retrograde in detriment position in Pisces, and Coxa, Zosma as well, and Pallas Athena because it's affecting the eclipse right now. So stay with me, bear with me. We're going to talk about everything here. All right, so what is the eclipse? So let's talk about Virgo first, okay? Because of we need to understand the Virgo archetype, which is the priestess, who knows herbs and heals with herbs as well, and they are don't harm, she is the daughter of Demeter, Persephone, who understand both harvest and descent. Virgo energy lives in the space between chaos and correction. It is actually quite intelligent, right? And it sees before anyone else notices things. Virgo archetype purifies. Absolutely, not necessarily the judgmental way. However, the Virgo energy, it's very judgmental. If you see and know any Virgo people around you, they could be very critical and self-critical, but because of the ruler of this eclipse, it's in Pisces, it is not going to judgment. It is going to be more, compassionate. And it could be also, because it rules the nervous system, Mercury, what rules Virgo, it could bring in some kind of emotional, unhealthy, situation during these times. It also rules the digestion and not just the food, because of sixth house is also food as well, right? And the wheat and the rice field, but also the information itself, Mercury, right? So digesting information, being responsible for your emotions, because perhaps you have to cleanse because of you are watching too much news, and it can be processed. It gives you anxiety. It builds up anxiety. This is the healer who studies before actually prescribing anything, the analyst who triple checks any kind of data, the worker who shows up even when no one uploads. Virgo energy is very humble, but it's not weak. It understands that mastery is built through repetition, right? And paying attention for details. Mercury also representing craftsmanship as well. And in this case, craftsmanship does matter. Competence does matter. Doing something correctly really matters, guys. Virgo in this highest expression, because of it could be some kind of sacred devotion, sacred service. Um, it can heal you through practicality. It organizes what others overwhelm. It brings structures to dream. It knows that enlightenment without discipline going to collapse. It does believes in improvement, not because it hates what exists, but because it sees the potential. At its shadow, Virgo becomes trapped in perfectionism and judgment and critics, right? The inner critic grows louder than the inner guide. Anxiety replaces discernment. Service turns into self erasure. The healer forgets to rest. The servant forgets their own worth. The nervous system stay activated because nothing feels finished enough. Virgo is deeply connected to the body, especially the gut and the nerves. Stress manifests physically. When life is chaotic, Virgo tightens up. When life is in order, Virgo thrives. So that is what Virgo is. And psychologically, Virgo seeks usefulness. It wants to contribute. It feels safe when it can improve something. That's why criticism, when balanced, is actually an act of care from Virgo. It wants better outcomes. But when it's unbalanced, the critic becomes self-sabotaging or, sabotaging their relationship also because not every people want to get criticized all the time by Virgos. And spiritually, Virgo teaches that actually holiness is in the details, folding laundry with intention, preparing food with precision. Virgo is not loud like fire signs, right? Like before her, you have Leo in the fifth house, which is everything about, attention and joy. Virgo is actually not even, it's definitely not also emotional and dreamy like water signs. But right now, the healer's ruler, it's in detriment in the 12th house, right? During this eclipse in Pisces. So six house never glamorous. Six house always, six house almost like think of that like the maintenance department. It keeps everything up before, not allowing to collapse things. Because of the six house rules, everything what you do every single day, right? This is where you function also while you are doing something and how you function while you are doing something. It's going to govern routines, discipline, management, productivity, service, and it's showing up with humility. It's not like, the 10th house, like a public title. It's sixth house, like your alarm clock, and it's working fine. So you can wake up every morning and being responsible to do what you need to do. Psychologically, the sixth house is about usefulness, as I said. So where are you need me and where I can do something where I'm competent with. And definitely, that's what sixth house moon means. Also helping others, managing details, and it is the supporting system. It is your rental property, your soulmate house. It is something to do with traits also. Health-wise, we were talking about, it could be the intestines, the pancreas, the gut health. Also because Mercury could be immune response as well. So also could be food sensitivity, allergy, and chronic inflammation as well. Stress induce disorders many, many times. So it could show autoimmune patterns as well because it's ruled by Mercury. It is actually ruling your hygiene, your diet, your supplement as well. How disciplined you are when you are doing some kind of exercise. Show me your habits and I'm gonna tell you if you are healthy or not. And in mundane astrology, it is the workers, the nurses, the sanitation system, public health, also private insurances as well. It is anything to do with labor union and employment sectors, disease outbreaks, and also, army. Army belongs from here as well, army services as well. It could also rule, economy as well, something to do with salaried employees, office structure, assistant and military personnel, for example, like a workforce in society. And financially, the sixth house is not something to do with inheritance or speculation, not really fame-driven wealth either. It is your paycheck, something to do daily, It could also reverse some kind of work alcoholism if you are over-promising as well. And it could also show your groceries, your healthcare routine, your utilities as well. So yes, and spirituality, it is your sacred routines as well. Obviously, Pisces is the opposition, so anything to do with meditations and even praying routine as well. And let's talk about right now a little bit, not Hercules, but Hermes, which is Mercury in mythology. And uh, it doesn't have a gender, but somehow I always call him, but it's a winged messenger of the gods. The only one was actually Hermes, who could move freely between Olympus and the earth and the underworld. He carried messages, escorted souls, negotiated deals, stole cattle as newborn, invented the lyre and ticked his way out of punishment, before even they could punish him, right? Because he was very intelligent. He's very intelligent. And he has a very powerful language and speaking ability as well. Hermes is the trickster, and actually, it's the petty thief in astrology, if you want to know that as well. So, he's not malicious, but he's very clever and he's like naughty. Uh, but definitely not a malefic planet. Actually, Hermes understands that information is currency, and whoever's control the communication, controls perception. And that is really, really important nowadays, guys, because there is so many fake news out there, and we have propaganda and AI created information, and people believe in it. And sometimes I'm still like shocked. How can people, not doing their own researches and believe this false and falling propaganda? But yes, so Hermes understood that and understood, communication can control the narrative. Psychologically, Mercury going to govern your logic, your reasoning, your speech, your wit. For example, Mercury in funny sign like in Gemini could be stand-up comedist. Actually, it's in rulership over there, but in Aquarius, it's definitely someone who is a genius. So it's the genius that has an analytic mind, right? And understand language and can pick up language very quickly, understand humors as well. And, curiosity and memory and adaptability, anything to do with decision making. It is how you process information and how you deliver it. First Mercury placement, actually, it's in rapid fire. Water Mercury's absorb tone, and Earth Mercury's is structure. Fire Mercury's assert, and Air Mercury's are debating. Just a second, let me uh, stop this for a second. All right, I'm sorry about that. I had to stop it and the dog started to bark again. I do have a old neighbor who doesn't leave me alone, and she keeps knocking for everything, like whatever she needs, and she just like really bothering me all the time, and she doesn't understand the message for some reason, but whatever. So that's what's happened. And I don't know where I actually have to continue, but probably I was talking about Hermes and, Mercury and what it governs, and we were talking about stand-up comedy. Actually, I was talking about probably like it's the tricksters, but, sometimes it could overwhelm the nervous system, especially with news, guys. And when Mercury is overloading us with like with news, we can have scattered focus and we can overthink or racing thoughts, and that is going to give you verbal, anxiety, and then you can verbally misfire and you can start to speak impulsively or like fight as well. And really, it could also create, so Mercury, if it's not in dignity, guys, then it could actually give you ADHD or some kind of speech disorder also. Often I do see Mercury harshly aspected in chart could indicate, some kind of autism or some kind of issues with cognitive decline as well, because it's affecting your neurological pathway as well. But, Mercury is your lung, it's your arm, your fingers, your voice. So if it's badly affected in your chart, in your natal chart, it could give you carpal tunnel or, you can have indication to often get some kind of, like respiratory issues as well or nervous tension as well. Yeah, so that is the signatures of Mercury, it is your breath as well and your speech. And, obviously it is something to do with cognitive decline often. Um, but Mercury also rules transportation, rules your cars, the roads, the delivery network, trade routes, and also logistic chains as well, telecommunication, your media outlet, journalism, publishing, school system, but only elementary until high school, actually, not higher education. So because Jupiter rules the high education and, Mercury rules the lower classes from preschool till high school. It also data and anything to do with shipping errors, anything to do with misinformation spreading, delays in flights, especially when it's in retrograde as well. So Mercury is buying and selling and negotiating as well, for example, e-commerce platform contracts and movement of goods as well. In finance and profession, it's short-term consulting, trading, and communication strategy, social media. That is your, also your website, for example, and multiplexing, and how flexible are you actually as well. Um, so it is also something to do with day trading, especially with the moon and the moon cycle and Mercury, because Mercury is a very fast planet with telecommunication and high frequency trading as well. News driven, volatility, and yeah, so that's what it rules. And also, Hermes has some kind of shadow, and the shadow is, to manipulate and to deceive, and, for example, it could be like algorithm manipulation, right? Misinformation, fake news, clever scams, and also, something to do with leaking out data or leaking out. What is that when you are cyber attacks as well, especially if Uranus is involved with Mercury. Uranus is the big brother of Mercury, by the way. We also have to talk about the essential dignity of Mercury. And, in Gemini, which is air and the mutable sign, it's in rulership. In Virgo, it's in exalted earth mutable sign. So, right now the eclipse is in Virgo. But it's actually going to be. So, for example, in Gemini, it's in rulership, Mercury speaks, but in Virgo, it perfects everything, right? Because it is like absolutely hyper functional and intelligent and has skills and data mastery, for example. It is the editing genius over there. But in Gemini, for example, it's really good with communications. Mercury has special twist actually in Gemini because of it could be the stand-up comedist, very sharp and very funny as well. And also, it's in detriment in Sagittarius and Pisces because Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by Jupiter, right? And Jupiter is thinking big, but Mercury thinks small. Jupiter is generalized and Mercury details. Jupiter believes, but Mercury questions everything, guys. So, it is Mercury struggles with overstatement and skipping steps, and Jupiter doesn't care about that. Jupiter actually prefers philosophy over precision. And in Pisces, Mercury dissolves, for example, logic going to become intuitive and symbolic and non-linear, brilliant for poetry or, music and lyrics, but dangerous for contract for sure. So yes, right now at this moment, Mercury is in fall, not in fall, but in detriment in Pisces. So, everything going to become foggy and overwhelming and overly and emotional. Pisces blurs boundaries. Pisces has no boundaries at all. That's why I just, when my old neighbor knocked again, and like 5 times a day, and the dog barks, they feel I don't have boundaries, and I'm being constantly nice all the time. So that's why I had to send my Scorpio stellium husband out to, after 3 years, to understand they cannot come all the time and asking for favor every 2 minutes, because it's overwhelming. But okay, going back to fall in not fall, detriment in Pisces, it's memory is not structured because there is also no boundaries at all. So, in Pisces, actually, it's the big dreamer. It is like, it is a little bit uncomfortable over here because of, it's only uses imagination and doesn't use any kind of analysis. It's almost like, okay, so which do you choose, the mathematician or the mystic? This is the mystic, the dreamer over here. And also, you have to understand the joy of Mercury, because every single planet experiences some kind of joy in different houses. And actually, Mercury rejoices in the first house, right? And the first house is something to do with your identity, with your perception, cognition, and your immediate environment. And Mercury governs perception, so it loves to be here, right? Because it is good to interpret reality, the first house. So they can create awareness. Mercury in the first house is very, very aware, and it is the central of identity going to become the center of identity, the mind going to become the center of identity, if it's in the first house. It's defined by intellect, the person who has Mercury in the first house, and they are very curious. Probably they are very active mentally, even in old ages. Probably they often appear very youthful and quick. I have my son, Venus and Mercury actually conjunct with his ascendant in Gemini. Jombor has an ascendant in Gemini, and he is very useful. He still have a baby face. At age 14 he will be in 2 months, and he still looks like an 11 years old. So I assume he going to have that youthful looks. Good for him. Any of you who has this, good for you. All right, let's talk about some fixed stars, guys. And we're going to talk about Coxa first. And Coxa is in the lion, cluster, actually. And it is going to show the hip and the height of the region of the Leo. Um, cluster, star cluster. And it is also something to do with aesthetic and social intelligence and artistry, because obviously, it's structures shows the Leo tides and Cox as well. But historically, what we need to talk about, because of that's how I going to do my prediction based on this, it is actually the oracle god Kua, and also the second Western minister in Chinese astrology, and between the Chinese astrologers. And it is also the deputy prime minister archetype, the administrative authority under the higher ruler, the civil authority overseeing military or state orders. Coxa is not the king because it's Regulus, or it is also Zosma, also the king, the minister, but Coxa is not, because it's representing the tides over here, but it's giving the structure for the government, for example. So it represents people who governs and administrative or legal, military, political structures, and or in advisory power as well. And in this case, the moon itself, because the eclipse is a full moon eclipse, going to conjunct with Coxa. So that's the public being shadowed by sitting on a star tied to administration and deputy power or military political structure, right? So what can happen over here? It could be something to do with resignation or exposure of deputy officers. And the Epstein fire right now, we're going to have a lot of scandals, a lot of people going to resign, guys. It is the judicial system as well. So we're going to see a lot of attorneys, a lot of people resignation during this, eclipse, because it's exposures, scandals going to be coming up also again, and the public reaction going to be like insane toward to military and political administrative decisions as well. I told you guys, Saturn Neptune conjunction, which already happened February 20th, is always drawing in young people, young children to military. So right now, the public reaction with this eclipse actually being like opposing that kind of drawing. Young children don't want to serve the military anymore because it is not my fight. I'm not going to fight for oligarchy so you can, eat more turkey and we are starving here kind of situation. It is definitely a lot of tension between civil officials and military structures. You can see that ICE in America, and we're going to have the country militarized and the street militarized, unfortunately. So that's going to be some kind of new law going to be enforced, but it's not going to be properly. It's going to be quite poorly enforced as well. So in the Chinese system, something to do with Koksai, it's because it's also governs health, right? It governs the heart because it's lions, but mostly the tides and the what is that the very low vertebrae. So we can like see some kind of news about hip replacement surgeries. Maybe, there was something to do what they replaced the hip with, it could be malfunction right now. So this one actually doesn't necessarily mean a total collapse, but it means visibility shift in the government, you know. So yes, and the financial market could be like, react to that because of if there is a lot of new regulatory or new judicial issues coming up or something to do with defense, military defense, then the financial market going to be volatile. Anyway, Saturn Neptune conjunction always market manipulation, and because of the previous eclipse, the solar eclipse was squaring Uranus. It's also something to do with crypto volatility, but I told you guys it's coming back, right? So, the this one actually, Coxa, it's going to, because it's the hip, it's going to hold up the body upright, right? It's stabilizing something. But the eclipse, it is some kind of struggle over there. It's temporary, but it's going to make you maybe, wobble a little bit. The system is wobbling for sure. That's why it needs a major shift. Not necessarily the crown falling with this, but most likely everything it's going to became a new structure. And why is it really important? Because Zosma is another uh, fixed star next to Coxa, but it is actually the lion's mane, it's the crown. So Zosma actually is the president, it's the prime minister, and Regulus is the king, right? But Zosma is the prime minister and president. And because of the eclipse is happening between them, between this midpoint of these two stars, right, on them, then we're going back to this lion energy over here, and Zosma is Saturn Venus in nature, right? Coxa was Mars and Saturn nature, and this one is Saturn Venus in nature. So very, very important the combination over here because it has a Venusian undertone, obviously. And why Saturn is authority and law and consequences and structure, Venus could be diplomacy and values and alliances, anything to do with public favor as well and morality as well. So, it is the first Western minister. So it's not the second one. It is the prime minister. It is the president, the emperor, right? Uh, Actually, it is the highest ranking under the emperor. For example, in the UK system, there is the king also. The king is Regulus Charles, but the prime minister, they have a prime minister as well. But there is Republican rulership, or like Republic. Or any other countries there is no kings, that is the minister, the president. So actually, Coxa is the deputy, but Zosma is the head of the administration, right? So the lunar eclipse over here could be like, okay, something to do with prime ministers around the world could actually be affected, could be exposed, uh, exposure of high-ranking minister, anything to do with public distrust toward to central government. There could be unrest, directed to actually the administrative structure or for the prime minister. This could also bring in a lot of policy backlash and legal and judicial crisis as well. Public reaction to moral scandals. So the Epstein file is slowly coming out, guys. Obviously, somebody going to release it because of Mercury is in retrograde. We're going to go back to some kind of issue right now, which is gonna be which we hide or try to hide it, which is the black dot names right now. It's going to be released. There is a lot of whistleblower coming with this eclipse and with this Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Also, you have to understand this retrograde also sextile with Jupiter, guys, but Jupiter is exalted, right? Not Mercury retrograde, I'm sorry, the lunar eclipse sextile with Jupiter, exalted Jupiter in Cancer. But on the other hand, Virgo put Jupiter in detriment, so it's not gonna benefit a lot from it, even if it's exalted at this moment by transit in Cancer, because Virgo doesn't really love Jupiter, right? It puts it in detriment with the small, over analyzing. But definitely Zosma, because it's Saturn and Venus nature, it could bring in some kind of new morality, new ethics, new political alliances and diplomatic breakdown as well. Anything to do, it could bring in some kind of issues with moral complication and benefit through disgrace. But we saw that every single politicians who are in high rank, it seems like they don't have morals, they don't have integrity, they are falling from grace, they are disgraceful because there is egoism. Sudden rise usually also represents sudden force as well, and that could happen with this, people who love status and power, and they fear of losing their power. So Bibi Milakowiski, right, Benjamin Milakowiski, and Trump definitely are the ones. But any kind of dictators, Orban, any kind of dictators around the world, we can go to Korea and Russia, because Putin also a dictator, they can fear of losing something right now because of the fire is coming out, and they know they barely have time right now. They try to manipulate and using propaganda and trying to divide us, but yes, that's what's happening right now. So, because of Zosma is Saturn Venus energy over here and the lunar eclipse is happening on it, it could create some kind of retail panic, obviously, in finances. Because of Saturn governs regulation and bonds and infrastructure, central banks as well, long-term contracts, and Venus is currency and trade, diplomacy, banking, public favor as well, investor appetites as well. So It could be eclipsed out, guys, because the eclipse is lunar. So there is going to be some kind of instability in leadership, and that could bring in some kind of new regulatory directions, which is not going to be welcomed by the public, right? Because of people not going to trust anymore. They are not trusting the government. They're not trusting the banking system, right? Uh, it could be some kind of um, that going to reach the highest of the highest, um, increasing the government created debts could increase during this time, and Venus going to bring valuation, and Saturn brings obligation over here. But the leadership, no matter what, it's mishandled a lot of things earlier, and that's why the market's going to notice. So volatility could come in with this for sure. And as I said, it is going to escalate tension because of a lot of prime minister might going to have to face, social unrest, and they're going to be removed from their seats as well. Yeah, so there you can see some kind of issues with trade agreements because Mercury also rules trading as well. Some kind of sudden tariff announcement again, and it could, affect also the diplomacy between countries' alliances, and it could also affect the supply chain, right? Who going to and who can buy oil from Venezuela, right? No, obviously, America doesn't allow China to buy from Venezuela because of they removed what's his name, Maduro. So yes, that's what's happening over here. But also, there are going to be a lot of corporates as well, and like they're going to also remove people from their chairs as well. Okay, let me stop because right now Martin calling. So oh my God, if I'm going to be stopped one more time, I'm going to lose my cool, guys. I can't deal with this anymore. I mean, I love the fact I'm so wanted, but sometimes just a little bit of peace. Come on now. Um, so I forget again where I have been, but yes, so CEOs, we're going to see also a lot of transition of CEOs. And I told you guys, because of Tesla is under, Elon is also in the fire. Actually, he was begging Epstein, just let me go to your island. I need some fun kind of situation. And if he is not going to resign, Tesla going to suffer. So eventually he needs to give up his pride and save his company, and to resign or to be the secondary CEO or whatever. He still can keep his company, but he needs some kind of change over there. But we will see a lot of CEOs to resign. So that's, and because of it could be also something to do with trading as well, and there could be some kind of banking regulation coming up as well during, or what else? Pharmaceutical CEOs, insurance CEOs, they could be killed or removed. But yeah, definitely that could happen also for us. But definitely it is volatility, so no matter what. And the other thing what I wanted to mention, because I'm doing that right now way too long, I talk incredible a lot, but Pallas Athene, guys, Pallas Athene also opposing this eclipse. It's sitting together with the sun in the sky. And Pallas Athene representing intelligence and strategy. She's amazing with pattern recognition and political wisdom and defense strategy as well. She is amazing with problem solving because she's very creative. She is the civil law. She is, awareness. She's actually has nothing Martian energy because she doesn't charge. She is waiting to be charged at, and she calculates then, and then she is right now she is in Pisces, so she's very intuitive, not just strategic. So she representing over here spiritual intelligence itself, and she going to use empathy also with logic together, and that's how she going to solve the issues, the problem. So it's not, blurry illusion, palasatene. It's definitely she has strategy, but she is using her intelligence. So when I have to do something with, like prediction over here, I have to use all this energy and all this information, all the keywords to predict anything for you guys. So because of Mercury is also data, it could be something to do with employment numbers and inflation statistic going to come out, GDP data going to be coming out and released or leaked, and then we're going to see the truth during this. And also because of Mercury is communication and rumors, because Mercury Hermes is the stricter over here. So some kind of crypto volatility could be triggered by rumors, right? Maybe some kind of restriction, digital asset restriction, which is going to make the traders to react emotionally. And later on, we're going to need some kind of clarification, and we will have after March 17th. But until then, it could be a heavy swing because of panic in cryptocurrency. Healthcare, because of the sixth house involved over here, For example, we have to, or the government actually have to re-examine some kind of healthcare budget. Also something to do with the pandemic era, something to do with COVID, we're going to get exposed to the information over there, and the public reaction going to be like infuriated, because then they can show the data or leak the data, how many side effect has the vaccination, or how many people did it help actually at all. And also, it could be some kind of issue with supply chain, because Mercury is trading and also, rules the roads. And it could be like maybe the roads are going to be flooded because of the snow is melting, and the supply chain, it's going to get rotten, the meat in the trucks. Mercury also the trucks, the transportation system. And because of the floods, it cannot, go through. So that could be something with this eclipse as well. And definitely confusion with policies as well. And health-wise and public system, hospital administratives could resign, for example, because of they had some kind of unsafe, workplaces, or a lot of scheduling issues, and people are supposed to go to surgery, but some going to die even if the surgery were urgent, because of the data and the structure is down during this time. Also, it could bring in some kind of pharmaceutical labeling corrections. Maybe some kind of medication didn't include side effects, and I know a lot of people going to report some kind of side effects, and they have to restructure that. Also, because of the excess energy, and Mercury is in retrograde indeterminate during this eclipse, which rules the death eclipse, anything to do with mental health, veterans, PTSD, could be in focus. A lot of people could be burnout, not just because of news, but also because of invisible illnesses as well. It could bring in some kind of respiratory issues, digestive issues, allergies, food allergies, but those are usually unseen. Maybe we're going to see in statistic like the Lyme disease is actually increasing during this time, or chronic illnesses, autoimmune illnesses, and we need to look into that. It could also bring in some kind of labor strikes in health sector, insurances, nurses, or also it could be some kind of with truck drivers or military people as well. We're going to see alternative medicine rising, so holistic healing during this time, or they're going to announce some herbs, or, right now, DeSantis, I don't like DeSantis at all. Sorry about my bias over here, but I don't like him. However, he gave over 40 million, no, $400 million to actually do research for a Canadian cancer research doctor professor with ivermectin and femben, and actually they had 400,000 clients, patients, and 70% of the patients read about this. This is big news. Went in remission, and it was pancreatic cancer, breast cancer, any kind of cancer, because in 76 there was a study with a professor, with a cancer researcher woman, who said cancer is actually related to parasite toxicity, and the byproduct of the parasite toxin actually, which creates that in the body. So if you kill the egg, the parasites itself, and you also taking binders, very important, guys, because binders helping you to release toxicity. So that's when actually when you can heal cancer. So right now 75% of people who've been in this study going to went in remission or miraculous healing, however you want to call it. But yes, alternative medicine is going to have amazing opportunity. And in education, Mercury is the mind, it's the testing, standardized testing, going to get reviews. We heard it from the Epstein file. Ghislaine Maxwell, Rob Maxwell was the one who actually brought the history books and the testing books for our children, and they took out a lot of information from Bible and history, and there was in propaganda in it. So right now we're going to see, and we're going to have some kind of revision over here. We're going to identify the biases and the errors, and we're gonna correct it finally. So this could be actually really, really great. There could be some kind of issue with free speech and journalistic restriction as well. But it's shaking us up. So it is like, okay, we might going to have some kind of restriction, algorithm issues, but we're not going to allow this, we're going to actually stand up and have some kind of backlash against that. And during this time, you're going to see like online learning platforms, especially if you homeschool your children, could have some kind of failures as well. We do have a lot of solar flares, which is, bringing Miss Aurora Borealis in. So the aurora going to be seen even from lower longitude, but on the other hand, we're going to have 6, 7G storms, which is very, very strong, and it could create data issues, blackouts, 3 days blackouts in countries and states, or around the world. It is actually could bring in issues with the navigation systems of electric cars or airplanes as well. And if we are talking about the war and peace, actually, I really like to listen. Who is that? Amy Goodman, she's an older lady who does the Democracy Now, and they do the War and Peace report every single day. So we're going to learn about the ceasefire talk going to get reopened. Obviously, because Israel has no ceasefire, guys, they keep killing Palestinians. So we're going to revisit that, and some kind of military error going to be revealed, as well. The intelligence going to leak out documents, or from the intelligence, Mossad, FBI, CIA, whatever the Russian intelligence and whatever the British, they all going to somehow leak out some kind of information accidentally. And it's not going to be corrected because people are awakened right now. They see the truth. I mean, you cannot shut up right now, people who are awakened. Obviously, there is a lot of false propaganda, and because Mercury, Hermes is the trickster, and he does a lot of propaganda and responsible for propaganda. Obviously, that's going to happen also. But right now they are not capable to shut us up. There could be some kind of cybersecurity issue or military defense issue as well. It could be also some kind of humanitarian aid delayed, right? Because of there is the flood because Mercury is in Pisces, melting snow, and the not tractors, the big trucks are not capable to go through, or because of the whole entire Middle East is under, like. Terrible, very militarized. So the Middle East is militarized right now. The US sent 20 fighter jets right now. They are moving people and soldiers out from Syria, from the military base, because it could be affected if they are going to attack Iran, and they will attack Iran because of, I told you guys, I showed you Iran chart. Unfortunately, they will go for it. But anyway, information is coming out, so people are not stupid, and they don't, most of them, hopefully most of them doesn't want to stay in the shadow. So I still have some kind of, hope for humanity, not a lot, but I still have some. But, for example, labor workplace could, some kind of employees openly can open up about the way they are working, and everything is unhealthy where they are working and overwhelmed, and it could be also some kind of union negotiation with maybe strikes, maybe because of Mercury could be also the tracks, the waste management tracks, and they're going to strike, and the streets going to be dirty because of they don't have good policies right now. Yeah, so that's gonna happen, guys. And then I just gonna quickly go a few things about each individual signs where the eclipse going to happen, because I have to pick up my son. He just called me, and he said he's coming home in time. So that's why I'm just going to do just a quick, like go through everybody's mm, astrology chart. And actually, let me start with Aries. And Aries, you're going to experience in your sixth house the eclipse, which is health and your service and anything to do with productivity and discipline as well. So it could be like you are getting rid of some kind of obsession. It could also take one of your pet out because it's a lunar eclipse. It's also going to make you less critical as well. If you have any kind of intestines and digestion or pancreas issue, immune system, gut health, you need a second opinion about that. You're going to change your hygiene. You might going to get rid of a chronic illness, or maybe you're going to reverse your autoimmune anti-TPO, for example. It's going to go in remission for sure, or not for sure, but you most likely can actually do that. You can, if you were actually insured by your employee right now, you can lose that. Maybe you were in military and you get retired during this time. Finances, be careful because some kind of job which is, weekly salary could actually disappear somehow, or your healthcare costs could go actually high up. Taurus rising, sun and moon, it's going to happen in your fifth house, dear Tauruses. My husband has a Taurus rising. It's anything to do with joy and creativity, taking risk, for example. Don't gamble because you can lose a lot. And on stock market, the trends are changing right now. It could be some kind of market manipulation. So careful with that. It could also bring in like your children's hobby can cost a lot of money, or their, maybe sport league if they're getting into that, and then you will need to pay a lot of money out for that. It could be also if you have a romantic affair or dating. Right now, that kind of romance could or that mistress could disappear somehow. And also, it could be something to do with pride and passion over here, your playfulness, your creativity. You don't feel this very creative right now. You feel more self-critical, uh, you know. And if you want to seek for hobbies, you can go back to do some kind of hobbies, but don't start. It could also bring in some kind of issue with fertility if some of you want to get pregnant as well. Health-wise, careful with your heart and spine, and with your libido as well, because it could decrease libido. It could bring in some kind of sexual transmitted disease or some kind of reproductive health issues. Gemini rising sun and moon is going to happen in your fourth house. Fourth house anything to do with your roots, your land, your family, your foundation, agriculture, homeland security. So you might going to be stopped by homeland security. You might going to have to go through public housing, or you might going to pay for ancestry and find out actually your father is not your biological father. It could be some kind of even you if you actually supported a team or some kind of political party, you might not go into because it is the political party as well, but it's the opposite who is in ruler right now, and you're just going to lose faith in them. The family dynamic is changes. It could actually make a mother figure, substitute mother figure to do a transition. Childhood memories can surface, and actually it could bring some kind of emotional issues. You can also have some kind of nesting instinct right now if you are pregnant. Definitely, you wanted to get rid of inherited trauma or something to do with codependency. You have enough, you want to earn your money. And it could be like, I did this tradition for family so long, I'm done. I'm not going to invite all the people every single day, year for family reunion. Somebody else has to do it right now. It could bring in issues with breast or chest. It could actually, you can have, decrease. How do you call that when you make your breast smaller because it can give you some kind of backache? But you can do that right now, and it could. Maybe you have ulcers and emotional eating issues, and right now you have to get rid of that. Financially, real estate and inheritance or generational wealth could be an issue right now. You might going to need to go to court as well. All right, Cancer rising sun and moon is going to happen in your third house. Third house is your mind, your mobility, media, anything to do with local transportation and communication. Maybe, your thinking patterns are changing. You can get ADHD, or some kind of multitasking is going to give you anxiety. You can start to slur your speech, or writing and your social skills could actually decrease right now. You don't want to talk a lot. It could also bring in some kind of neighbors are gossiping about you. uh, you getting rid of your phone addiction. You were always, on TikTok, but right now you're done. You don't want to have news because it's overwhelming you. There could be some kind of peer pressure if you're still in high school or in school, but or if you are working on computer, you can have some kind of carpal tunnel, or some kind of shoulder, frozen shoulder it could bring in. But definitely if you are a freelancer, and or if you are writing or doing social media, it could actually take out a marketing job. Right now you don't feel, that lucky with this eclipse over here. Leo rising, sun and moon, it's happening in your second house. Second house is your possession, your self-worth, your values, your survivor themes, the food that you eat. So you might going to actually start to do some kind of fasting right now. If you had a farm or agriculture, possession, you might going to have to restructure that or get some more money from bank and things like that to keep your wealth, for example. taxation policies could be, like an issue over here. If you are trading commodities or anything to do with food, it could be also some kind of issues with that. Your self-worth, your security needs also can decrease during this time. But because of its sextile with Jupiter, there could be a new value system that you're going to bring up, and you're going to actually be more productive. And maybe you're just going to get rid of a lot of stuff that you bought during the years and minimalize, and you earn money from that. So if you have a throat issue, neck issues during this time, you can have some kind of tonsillitis or jaw tension, TMG, some kind of eating disorder as well. So it has to be taken care of right now. The salary, your income, your tangible assets, could be actually going through some kind of decrease at this moment because you need to pay something else. Virgo rising sun and moon, it's happening in your first house. Obviously, first house, anything to do your identity, your beginnings, yourself. It is your national character. It is, your first strikes. You can become a riot. You can become, someone whose self-image or persona is going through major change. You are leaving something behind. Your presence, your aura, your charisma is changing. You're going to become more authentic. You're taking off your what is that? Your mask, actually. Uh, in finances, it could be something to, if you had a startup or a crowdfund or solo enterprise, you might going to need some kind of restructuring that, or making getting more money, putting more money into it because it's not really going. But you can get rid of impulsive spending, and the first house is your skull, anything to do with your head and eyes. You might going to have an eye surgery, or you can get migraine headaches during this time. It's a lot of pressure, anxiety, and you will need to take care of that. Libra rising, sun and moon, where is it gonna happen for you? Okay. Oh, Virgo. Where is Virgo? Oh, it's in your 12th house, of course. So it's in your 12th house, and 12th house, anything to do with isolation and surrender, prisons and hospitals. So, some of you actually could get out from hospitals, hospice, or prisons during this time, or, get in jail. There could be hidden enemies dissolving right now, hidden surveillance issues, like, okay, I've been listened all the time and I find out and I can get rid of that. If you are an asylum seeker, it could go under challenge right now. Your dreams, you can become very lucid and really mystical, but careful with escapism to addictions during this time because you betray yourself. You self-sabotage yourself. Your feet and lymphatic system could go, and you're under, some kind of stress, and you can have water retention and autoimmune disease, Lyme disease. You might going to find out you have. So careful. Any kind of secret phones you had before, they might going to stop to spending that for you. But also it could be like an offshore account could actually disappear right now. Somebody can store money from offshore from you. Then Scorpio rising sun and moon, it's in your 11th house, which is future progress, networks and rebellion. It is anything to do with social media and anything to do with non-profit and political activism, humanitarian works, you know. All right, so it could be like, first of all, some kind of political activism is dissolving right now. Your non-profits is dissolving. It makes you really tired. You don't want to do it on anymore. You want to get off from online and online communities because it's not healthy anymore for you. You want to be detached. You want to be actually like not networking anymore. Maybe, your friends are disappearing on you. Your group identity is like, okay, you know what? I'm not the group leader anymore. It's changing. It could bring in the end of some kind of social justice, for example, as well. If you have issues with circulation, angles, and nervous system, some kind of dopamine issue could this eclipse could bring that in, but it also could get resolved with it as well. But definitely, I see social withdrawal for you guys. And if you had some kind of crowdfunding, especially with technology, because 11th house is technology, online monetization, collective investment, non-profit income, it could also dissolve you for you right now. Sagittarius rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in our 10th house, which is career and reputation. It's government and political parties. You're definitely not going to support your political party anymore. It could be also if you've been in corporate leadership, you're going to get retired. Like something to do with royalty and being a public figure as CEO, you are just like, okay, I'm done with this, and moving away from big firms. I'm gonna be a freelancer. Your ambition and your purpose are changing right now, your career path, especially if you are a public figure, right? It's going to have a new life mission right now. And it could be, okay, I want to achieve something with more with teaching, more with being humble in a public area, but maybe more with healing right now. If you have any issues with bones and joints and knees and teeth right now, chronic illnesses, you can find actually the right doctors to, for example, make you healthy, but definitely work could make you burned out and you might just going to give up some career right now. Financially, it could bring in some kind of issues with promotion. You might have been, promised to get an income rise or promotion, but it's going to be prolonged right now. All right, and then Capricorn rising sun and moon, it's in your ninth house. Ninth house, anything to do with beliefs, law, exploration, expansion, it could bring in some kind of end of in a religion you don't want to be and you don't belong from there. You feel some kind of foreign policy could end. Maybe you get finally your citizenship or just you don't get any and you move back home. Some kind of international law or court system could, bring you some kind of challenges. And if you are trading globally, it could also get some kind of challenge during this time. And publishing, maybe you have to re-edit your book right now. Your faith is not stable, your adventures could actually get, like they're not gonna let me go right now for this adventure, for this trip, or I'm not going to study. I'm gonna leave my university because of the major is not what I want to do anything. Careful with liver toxicity, overindulgence, and fat metabolism, fatty liver, because it could be, even it could bring in some hepatitis during this time or travel-related illnesses, sciatica issues as well. And you might be the one who doesn't want to do any more YouTubing, or you need a break over here, or from teaching or religious nonprofit. Aquarius rising sun and moon, it's going to happen in your eighth house. Eighth house is your anything to do with tax and national debt, but tax and your wealth. It's your prenup, your bank, and also it's representing crime and identity theft. So you might going to actually locate who store your identity. Don't do anything on black market or underground network because it could actually uh, um, bring you in a cult or some kind of major issues around underground network. Also, insurance industry, be careful, like what you are doing right now with insurance. It could bring in and show political corruption as well if you are a politician. Definitely, it could bring some kind of rebirth from a crisis. So you're going to do a lot of shadow work, go to trauma healing with jealousy or maybe intimacy. If there was a secret, then it could be shed lights on a secret as well. But there is also you are capable to cut karmic ties as well, so that could be really good for you or go to psychologist. Your reproductive organs and genitals, rectum, sexual transmitted disease could actually get healed right now, even hormonal imbalances as well, or sexual trauma as well. Or if you have sepsis, some kind of blood disorder, you might going to need a surgery and you will be fine after that. Taxes, you can get audited for tax, or you can sign up for debt relief program right now, or like you can pay off your loans during this time. And then the last but not least, my beautiful Pisces, fellow Piscean, it is in your seventh house, which is partnership contracts, and that is the mirror for you. So anything to do with diplomacies, anything to do with marriage laws, with court case, open enemies, with legal battles and trade agreements going to be focus of attention, right? And it could be like, all right, the public lawsuit finally is over. I don't need to battle anymore with my ex-partner. Uh, the marriage is over, but finally I got paid out because I had a great prenup during this time. Uh, but it could also bring in like you lose a partner, for example, even business partner or a contract. You have to renegotiate a contract because it was not fair. It was, you don't trust your business partner anymore. You don't want to people please, definitely, and you are seeking for balance. It could bring in issues with your kidney and adrenal gland and, some kind of imbalance disorder. And if you have anything to do with dependency right now, it's like, okay, I don't want to depend on my partner. I want to breathe. I want to be codependent. And in finances, anything to do with marriage assets or collaborative ventures and lawsuit settlements, it could actually bring in a good lawsuit settlement right now, and some kind of good prenup right now for you guys. All right, lovelies. Thank you so much to being here for me. Thank you so much to listening. Thank you so much to helping me to grow and hype my videos. Please keep doing what you are doing. Make comments and I will be there for you as well. Bye for now.